Hello, everybody, and welcome to a cup of self-empowerment to trust, heal, and be thyself with my dear friend, Melinda Laine, who's joining us today from Canada. I'm so happy to have you here, Melinda. And for those of you who don't know Melinda, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background knowledge about her. And, it's so lovely the way, you described yourself to me. It's just beautiful. I just really want you to take this in when I say this back to you, Melinda. It's like Melinda Laine, empath, healer, warrior, grid worker, lover of the divine, lover of life, lover of people, lover of angels, unicorns, dragons, magic, a student of nature, a student of life, Ramtha, Abraham Hicks, ACIM, nonviolent communication, Akashic Academy with Emily Harrison, and yoga. These are just the few modalities that, Melinda's got behind her. And it's just awesome when she's going to share these with us later when we talk about these. And Melinda's been on a very intense healing journey for the last 25 years, which we're going to tap into too. And yeah, her journey is to make the journey of rediscovering yourself, and being authentically you. And she's currently living in a small Canadian town. She's a caregiver for her family and is mostly working at the moment, and reactivating that balance and getting out of that space of fear after, the last couple of years we've gone through a real bumpy world, and, just reactivating that whole new level of non-present moment awareness. And anyone who knows Melinda knows that she's always eternally grateful for everything which comes along on our path. So welcome, Melinda. Thank you for taking the time to have a cuppa with us today and join us from Canada. That's just great. You're our first Canadian. Yay!
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're my first Canadian. So welcome.
that's awesome. I
Yeah.
like her. Usually
So yeah.
here's a joke, but I like to say I'm
Tell us.
so far behind, I think I'm in first place. Well, this time I'm just in first place.
You're
Now, how
just in
sweet is
first
that,
place.
right?
There you go. You're just in first place. That's just so cool. So, Melinda, tell us about how you started trusting thyself on your own personal journey.
Well, it's been a long journey around trusting myself, and still 25 years on a
Yeah.
spiritual journey. And it's one of the last barriers, really, for
Okay.
me, just trusting myself, my intuition, my knowingness, a lifetime of knowing things, but always getting the feedback. No,
Yeah.
you don't know, but
Okay.
I would know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so at some point, I guess I shut that down, that ability. And so it's been it's been a journey to retrieve that level of trust in my own guidance system.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So how would you say that actually started again? How did you actually move into that state? Was like, okay, what led you to actually want to actually start trusting yourself again? What brought you to say, okay, I know deep within myself that I can trust myself, and I'm gonna actually want to dig deeper now and actually start building that muscle up again, because I've shut it down for such a long time.
Well, I guess where that first started for me was when I got sick in the beginning, in the late 90s. And at that time, I found Ramtha School of Enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's where my journey first started around.
Okay.
uh, like it's all about me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's when, you know, automatic pilot became glaring in a way, right? The
Mm-hmm.
programs, and I could see it and couldn't always make the change. But for me, that's where it first started, was
Yeah.
going around school and understanding that the God within is really what you're after,
Yeah.
because that's the place that's the launching pad,
Yeah.
right? For
Yeah.
everything else.
Definitely.
So that's that's what drives me.
Cool.
to know myself.
Definitely. And I suppose when you actually like, you take that step and you wanted to start on your own launch pad, that, connect with yourself, that was ultimately for you probably the start of your healing journey then, wasn't it?
Totally. And it's continued on all these years. I just keep adding to it, and um,
So what stuff have you done along the way? We've spoken about all these beautiful things that you're a grid worker. Tell someone who doesn't know anything about grid work and explain a little bit about grid working to us, if you can.
well, I learned that through Ramtha too.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about Ramtha, he doesn't really like us if we're not an official teacher,
Mm-hmm.
then teaching his modalities is not for us, right?
Okay,
But I
fair
can
enough.
say, I'll speak to my own personal experience.
Yes, please.
And the school has all kinds of disciplines to help you do all kinds of things.
How
And
do
one of
how
them
do
is,
you how do you incorporate it in your life? How does Mel do her grid work?
well, it started a long time ago where I intensely overlaid a grid onto the sky
Okay.
for years, really.
So how
And
do you
then
overlay the grid over the sky? Because there's gonna be people, our viewers
you just
today are
see it.
thinking,
You
wow, that
just
sounds
see it.
really like out there. How would you do that?
Okay, you just stare at the sky and you take what I used in the beginning was, those back in the day when they did sewing, they
Yeah.
had those little gridded print
Yes,
things.
yes. I know
Well,
what you're
that's
talking
what
about.
I
Yeah. Uh-huh.
would envision in
Okay.
the sky
Oh,
for years.
wow.
I did that. I
Oh,
just held it, and then at some point it activated another grid, right? Which
oh,
came down and lays down, and I kind of live in a grid. I can see it, and it lays all around, and it's kind of white, floaty little strands. And
mm-hmm.
basically, what I have to do is lower my eyes. Like looking at you now, I'm not seeing a grid, but if I lower my eyes,
Okay, so you're lowering your
it
gaze. Yeah.
comes. It comes, and
Wow.
that's why it's so important to be present,
Yeah.
and why doing the amount of grid work I did to get to this level, and then to not be present
Yeah.
in the last, well, a couple of years, I've really noticed. So
Yeah.
all your unconscious stuff is
Mm.
getting snapped up by the quantum field.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the healing journey. You can see how big my eyes are.
Yeah.
That's the healing journey I'm on right now, right?
Oh, wow.
Because I can clearly see it boomerangs back quite quickly what my where healing is required, where I got
Yeah.
stuck,
Mm-hmm.
based on the outcomes that I'm focusing on one thing and something else is happening
Mm-hmm.
because I'm phasing in and out,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
so we're getting the good and we're getting the not so good too.
Mm-hmm. That's very
Yeah.
true.
So that so that's why it's been more about me the last couple of years,
Yeah,
and staying present because I know the power that is all around me.
definitely. Especially if you have that, that visual confirmation when you're lowering your gaze and you can see that grid around you. That must be really comforting, actually, to a certain level, to know that. I mean, was it the first time? I would imagine the first time you'd kind of be like, oh, a little bit like, I don't know, what am I seeing? Can I trust what I'm seeing? So this is also you seeing that grid is just, confirming to yourself and confirming to all our viewers today that trust that it's there. You
Mhm.
see it. And doesn't matter if
Yeah,
someone says, well, I don't think you are seeing a grid, seriously, no. And you can say, well, I know it's there because I see it. And that's that, you've connected really you've docked into your heart and said,
well,
I'm seeing it all.
the funny thing about that is when I was a child, up until I was probably 9 or 10, I used to have what I called snake dreams. They were really snake nightmares. And
Oh,
what it was, when I closed my eyes, it was the same grid I see now, but I didn't have a frame of reference for it
oh,
till later. And I was always so scared and
yeah.
all of that. But you know, and I didn't
But
realize
these
that right
lines were
away.
like looked like snakes then, maybe. And then you know, that's the
Eagles and
thread. Oh,
so that was interesting. And once I connected those dots, my fear of snakes dissolved, right?
yeah.
Right.
Goodness.
Yeah. So I've done a lot of the grid work and I love it. And like I hold a vision for what I want
Mm-hmm.
in the grid. And it could be healing the planet. If somebody calls for healing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, somebody is asking on Facebook, he'll could you send your
Yeah.
then I do you know, I have a whole bunch of different ways I can do that, but the
Yeah.
grid is one way I like to do it too, to send
Wow.
healing and stuff to the person. And I just basically hold the person up, their name, and allow that healing energy to go to trust that it goes where I've sent it.
Yeah. And it's going.
Yeah.
We know it's going. Definitely, we know it's going. Oh, that's beautiful. So, you know,
Yeah.
with I know you've like suffered from like severe depression and, you know, PTSD as well. Was it like going through embarking on your own healing journey, you know, that you managed to start healing aspects of that? What would you say was the first area? Was it, you know, was it the grid working, or what kind of thing really like
Um,
really caught your attention and said, okay, this is what I actually need to help me with myself so I can start healing myself?
well, when I first went off sick,
Mm.
um, you know, there was a period of years where I was psychologically bedridden. Like I
Oh my
wasn't
goodness.
physically bedridden, but
Oh.
I really slept away about 4 years.
Oh.
Yeah. So seriously depressed. And at that point in time, I mean, and I was doing everything I could do
Yeah.
to the you know, the I don't know, societal models of healing mental illness or
I mean, at the end of
then
the day, no one knows what that feels like unless they're going through it themselves. So, you know, it's just, wow. I'm
and
so
you
sorry to
know,
hear
and
that. It really hit you so hard.
it hit me incredibly hard, and that was the PTSD. I guess I had a triggering event at
Hmm.
work,
Hmm.
and it activated some past trauma, let's just say.
Okay, yeah.
And that's how that PTSD kind of gets started.
Hmm.
And when it gets activated, then it's a whole different ball game.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
really it, but the gratitude I have, because if that hadn't happened, I honestly don't even know if I'd still be alive,
Wow. Wow.
right?
Wow. Yeah,
You
that's
know, work
huge.
work
That
hard
is
for the
huge.
man, work
Mm,
hard for the man, and then to die like I was in a very high stress job with
okay.
um anyway, it happened for a reason to get me off of that
Yeah.
workaholism,
Yeah. Well, thank
right?
goodness. I mean, not thank goodness that's it. I mean, thank goodness that you're here today is all I want to say. You know, thank goodness
Mm.
that we've got you with us now
Aw,
and the
thank
last
you.
years and for many, 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 many years to come, because, you know, that would be just too much of I can't even put it into words. Sorry. I just have no words there because it's just,
Mm.
it's a
Aw,
non-negotiable. You're here and you're staying here. So,
I'm happy to hear that. Sometimes
yeah,
I do feel like I'm in a struggle for my life, and that's okay too. Um, you know, when the pain is great enough, people change. That's an AA
yeah.
slogan or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
I would call it a slogan, a motto, or, you know,
yeah,
empowerment
whatever.
is to basically build you up, something you can like grasp hold of. Yeah. So how would
But
you, how would you, you know, so many people have gone through so much stuff, especially the last couple of years. And I'm certain there's many people who've had those moments where they've just like, they didn't want to go on any longer or just didn't know how to show up anymore, you know. what words of motivation, because you've experienced this yourself, so you know how that feeling is. What words of encouragement would you like to give our viewers today?
I guess the biggest encouragement would be around call it into being. Call it into being.
Mm-hmm.
Like how I accepted being a healer was I marched on it. I called it up. I've always been a healer
Of course you have,
for as
yeah.
far back as I can remember,
Yeah.
as far forward as I can remember. I've always
Wow.
been a healer.
Yeah.
My presence alone heals others. I
Yes.
think that at least once a day. And I have a whole bunch, I
Amazing.
march into my who I am,
Oh, that's
right?
brilliant.
Yeah, and I do
That's
that.
really
So,
brilliant.
I have always been filled with the love of the divine. Like
Mm-hmm.
start my day out like that. Okay, so
That's,
that helps to keep
yeah,
me.
that's really a lovely perspective, a way of like, and you, I suppose you work, if you've studied and you're a lover of the divine and with live people, angels, unicorns, and dragons and magic, do you have like a favorite angel or a favorite dragon, or is it who like comes in that moment? It's like, okay, this person, or it all depends obviously on the healing situation, what
I
you're
have a whole
working
bunch
on.
of stories. There's been no end of magic, really, Kelly,
Oh, come
right?
on, tell us one then. Come on, share.
Well, I go walking with my neighborhood children. They're 10, 7, and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And, we talk about all kinds of things. We're always looking for dragon clouds and unicorn clouds and excited about all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was telling them the story about my dragon that I have, my
Mhm.
special blue dragon that I have attached to me,
Okay.
called Dragoon,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Not even 5 steps later, we go by a truck that has Dragoon on the license plate, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I
it's
can
that
just picture these little kids' faces.
so much of stuff like that, so much magic, ah, focusing one day, saw a unicorn cloud, and I'm like, "Wow,
Yeah.
that's a nice looking cloud." I'm
Yeah.
kinda scrambling to get my phone, and
Okay.
then a unicorn, my concept of a unicorn steps out from around the cloud.
No way.
As soon as I got into freaking out
Yeah,
instead of
I think I would have freaked out as well
it dissolved, like
Checked my
it was
drink, I
it was
was in
gone.
there.
It was gone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, that's the kind of stuff I like to keep myself, elevated. I have a couple of tools I use. Another one I'm fond of is,
Yeah.
there's only you, Mel.
Hmm.
There's only you. Whenever I wanna get excited about Goofy Louie over there, right?
Okay.
There's only you. All of it is
Yeah.
brought up for healing.
Wow.
If I react, if I have a reaction, well, I know that's my stuff.
Yeah.
If I'm just observing with a smile on my face, that means I've probably owned it. This is how I think anyway, owned it in this lifetime. And if I don't notice at all, which I don't know what I'm noticing and what I'm not, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
that's something I've owned it in another life.
Oh, wow. That's such a beautiful perspective. It
Yeah.
really is. That's awesome. I really like that.
How helpful is that?
It's really, really, really helpful.
So
That
when
is
I'm
so
doing
helpful, because seriously, it is, yeah. Why are we getting reacted by someone else? Why is someone, yeah,
if there's a reaction, it's for me, that's my signal to start looking within. There's unhealed trauma there somewhere, right?
yeah.
They're doing something that you haven't forgiven yourself for or whatever it is. You got to
Yeah, I
find
mean,
that
we
out for
all know
yourself.
that
That's
deep
the
within
journey.
ourselves, but there are times, like even the most trivial things, where we'll get a reaction come out from us, and then to put it under that magnifying glass, is actually an invitation, as you said, to go back to within and see why that tiny little thing is making you trip out, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, oh, I forgot to mention another one of my favorite things is Ho'oponopono. I
Oh,
do it a lot.
yes.
I sing it
I
a lot. I
love,
love
love, love,
it.
love, love, love.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, so and the other one, another good two more tools I'm going to share is breathe in when
Mm-hmm.
I am in reactive mode.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe in, breathe out, drop into peace. I allow that peace, drop into peace. I allow that
Mm-hmm.
peace to just flood my system.
Oh, I'm just feeling this wave come over me now. Well, this is just nice.
Yeah.
Ah,
And then you're back on track till the next time, right?
yes.
And when I first
Yeah.
started that particular tool, I had to use that hundreds of times a day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Breathe in,
Yeah.
breathe out, drop into peace.
I like that because I often do the breathe in, breathe out, but I
Hmm.
like this drop into peace because that's really like you're telling yourself exactly, I'm just when
Yeah,
I'm breathing out, I'm trying to let it go at the same time and really get myself back grounded and centered, but to drop into peace, because then we're
and
going to
to
drop
feel
back
it
into our heart
too.
space, aren't we?
It's to feel it too. The key is
Mm,
feeling that in the moment, that peace and that connection. And another favorite of mine is I call in the golden and white crystal light of the divine. Please
mm-hmm,
come. 3 times I call it. I tap myself there in the heart.
mm-hmm.
Soul, mind, and body of the divine, please come. Soul, mind, and body of the divine, please come. Fill me with your golden and crystal healing light. And that can take a life of its own. I can go anyway with that. I'm
Yeah,
going
I
to
bet
heal
you can.
organs or water or
Yeah,
whatever physical issues I have. But just
yeah,
from an emotional perspective,
yeah.
I allow that golden crystal light to come and just fill me up,
Wow. Thank you
wash
for
me.
sharing these to everyone because, they're real gifts and they're really tangible as well. And we all know that I truly believe that everyone has that ability to tap into healing themselves. I really truly believe that. I really think, if you want to and you're ready to dig deep and, yeah, go through, your closet as well and really get everything out of you as well. I think we all can. We've all got that ability within us.
Mm-hmm.
I really
Mm-hmm.
do believe that. So thank you so much for sharing those really
You're welcome.
wise and really practical and totally fun ways of really connecting to ourselves. That's beautiful. So my last question for you would be, so when would be the moment you would say, I mean, obviously the healing journey is something, it's a journey because we're always on it. We're always wanting to up level ourselves. We're always wanting to be that more favorite version, more better version, more authentic version, more real version of who we are, whatever feels, choose whichever word fits better for you. If everyone who's watching this, choose that version for you. But when would you say, this is me, this is Mel, this is sovereignly me, and this is how I'm going to show up? When did that moment come, would you say?
I'm not even sure, to tell you the truth,
Oh, I
when that
think it's always
moment.
been there.
It might have been.
Yeah.
I've always been that girl in a way, right?
Okay. Yeah.
They call that girl, right?
That girl. Oh, I like
Right?
that girl. She's cool.
But I think this hunt for the authentic self is like once stepped onto the spiritual journey, the spiritual path, it
Yeah.
becomes evident that that's the journey. That is the journey.
Yes.
Exactly that, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I can't say exactly.
I think it's just, I think there's, I personally, and I'm sure everyone who's watching today is going to feel it too, that there is just an element of magic in your presence. I personally feel that. This
Hmm.
is my personal what I feel. And you know, you are, regardless of everything that you've gone through, you own yourself, all aspects, all facets, whether they're shining, whether they're feeling a bit, like they need polishing, whether they're feeling a bit scraped and scratched, you own them and you let them show. And I think that's, for me, that's why your healing work is so powerful, because it's relatable. Everyone can find the facet of themselves in you. So I think that's really
Yes.
wonderful. And I just wanted to share that. It just come through, and I just feel
Aw,
it's really important that
yeah.
you have that information as well. And so how would, if people like say, okay, I really resonate with Mel and I'd love to get in touch with Mel, how would be the best way for people to get in touch with you? How can they reach out to you?
That is so funny because I don't even have a clue how anybody would reach out to me.
Reach out to me and I'll put you in contact.
Yeah. That's
No, but you're
I
on
mean,
Facebook, aren't you? So you're on Facebook.
I'm on Facebook, Melinda Laine.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm
And
on
if,
Facebook.
any questions and that, I mean, anyone, more than happy
And
to
if
contact me and I'll
if
point you in the
they
direction.
if they send me a friend request and just say they saw the show on it,
Yeah,
right?
that would be
With
really
the
good. Then
Kelly watch
the,
Kelly's show and,
yeah,
was curious about this or
yeah.
curious about that,
So
I'll
tell
be
us what kind
happy
of
to.
healing you offer then.
Well,
Apart from
I don't
everything, I'm just getting the word, well, I do everything. You can do
yeah,
everything really. You just tailor into what people need, don't you?
yeah, my healing ability is not where my, um, what's the word? There's no money exchanged in, like, I have always been a healer. My presence alone is enough.
Yeah.
So I don't charge for that, and all I can do is be real, like we just talked about, and get to that, be that as authentic as can be. And it just as I got on this journey, it just dissolved away all the barriers to that. And
Mm.
I just noticed at one point I'm thinking like all my filters have just dissolved.
Wow.
No, you've just risen to a level where of integrity where you don't need those filters. And
Yes.
if you do, there's a lesson for you in that too. Like if you to hurt someone or because you engaged your mouth before you thought about it,
Hmm.
so be it. Let the chips fall where they may and
Yeah.
then learn. And that's the growth. That's the learning. That's more making known the unknown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's what helps me to, I just slowly just it was kicked off because of a 2-year phase called Black Ratty, where I said, "Okay, I'm gonna give people what they give me, okay?"
Hmm.
And
Okay.
it wasn't pretty on any level, and
I can quite imagine.
fly. It didn't fly, it didn't fly. It was a
Yeah.
total disaster of an exercise.
Yeah. And also you're not living in authenticity with yourself. You're not being you. You were going down
That
to a level which wasn't yours to
yeah.
own, you know? Yeah.
So, that was a valuable lesson, but I think that was right after that, that the Black Ratty was kind of the stepping stone to dissolve those, you know, uh, filters. But
Mm. That's
took the
amazing.
growth, learning from
Yeah.
the experience, and so the filters up-leveled all on their own. Like, I up-leveled all on my own, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. I
Okay.
feel like I'm learning so much here, just hearing about you talking about this. It's
Yeah.
just,
So,
it's beautiful. So thank you so much.
you're welcome.
And for anybody who wants to reach out to Mel, Mel is, as you can feel, see, hear, sense, is a very special person. And I know she said here she doesn't charge for her healing. However, I want to make it very clear that, there's respect which goes on here with that, you know, respect, and there is an exchange of some time which you know, also deserves. So, you know, this is really important that we, you know, and for you to show up and say that as well is placing a lot of trust in the people who are coming to you for work as well, because you know that they're standing in their integrity as well.
Well,
Yeah.
nobody really comes to me for work, Kelly. That's the funny thing about it. I just live my life, and whoever I meet is the beneficiary of who I am. I
Ah,
mean,
okay. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
So you're like that fairy godmother who's always with us, basically.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
When you're thinking, it's like, oh yeah, I'm just, you know, the neighborhood kids. I'm thinking, why does she not live around my neighborhood?
Well, I do like to visualize myself teleporting. You never know. I've been on that one for
Yeah, come
a good
visit.
20
My
years, but I think
teleportation door's always open for you. Come in, come in.
that would be
Always.
cool.
That would
Yeah,
be
that's
lovely.
the
That'd be
goal.
so good.
That's the goal.
Oh, well, thank you so much for your time today, Mel. Really, it's been really, really nurturing chatting to you. And just, yeah, I've taken away so much wisdom today. And I'm sure everyone else who's watching this is going to really feel into that as well and equally take it away. So thank you for being so honest, so giving as well with your knowledge and with, like, you know, how to do kind of things as well. That's just really great. Thank you so much.
Aw. Well, you're welcome, and I'm always amazed at how you see me. So, and that all that tells me is there's just a little bit more work to be done on, how I see myself clearly,
Yeah.
right? So thank you for
Oh, my
because
pleasure. My pleasure.
yeah,
I'm sure
mhm,
I can just, yeah, it's just, I can't even put it into words because it's just so, it's so pristine and so,
aw, thank
yeah,
you.
special.
Mm.
Special sounds so lame, no. The word special sounds really lame here.
Well, it's a label, right? So
Yeah,
not
but
quite.
no, I don't mean it in a labely kind of way.
I
I mean
know,
it
I
kind of
know, I
like
know.
endearing, endearing. There you go.
Yeah,
I
there you
like
go.
that word.
Yeah.
Endearing.
Aw,
Endearing, honest, and yeah, as you said, you know, people you show up daily, and those who you meet along the way are beneficiaries of it all. And yeah, you can feel that definitely. So thank you
see,
so much.
you're
And thank
welcome.
And thank you, everyone who's been watching today. And, you know, take care of yourselves wherever you are in the world. Have a wonderful day, wonderful afternoon, evening. And we look forward to catching up with you with a cup of self-empowerment very, very soon. Much love to you. And thank you once again, Mel.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Much love.
Much love.
Bye-bye.